Hi, it's Dr. Madden. When you create a quiz in Google Classroom, you have two options. One option is to create the quiz directly in Google Classroom. The other option is to create the quiz in Google Drive using Google Forms and then add it to your Google Classroom. We'll go over both options. If you're going to create your quiz in Google Classroom, the first thing you want to do is go to your class and select Classwork. From here, you'll click on the Create button. From the drop-down menu, you should select Quiz Assignment. It's time to give your quiz a title. Let's call this the Figurative Language Pretest. Okay, so I've put some instructions in there, and now it's time to actually create the quiz. I can click on the Create button and select one of the options from the Google Tools, or I can click on Blank Quiz. From this blank quiz template, I'm going to customize it to fit the needs of my group. The first thing is to give the quiz a name. Now it's time to add our first question. If you click on Untitled Question, you'll see that your space to work pops up. You'll see also that you can do multiple choice, short answer, paragraph, checkboxes, drop down, and so on. It defaults to multiple choice, and that's what we're going to use. First, type in your question or prompt. Typically, you'll have 4 responses. Okay, and then when you're done with your question, you can go to Answer Key and you can select the correct response. In this instance, the correct response is personification. The sun is acting like a person by peeking out from the clouds. Now I can add some answer feedback. If students select an incorrect response, I might say, the sun is behaving like a person by peeking out. This makes the statement personification. I can also add feedback for correct answers, and I might say something like, great job. You selected personification. And then some of the same text that I had before. Don't forget to select the Save key after you've added your feedback. Okay, so we can continue on from here, adding more questions. To add another question, you're simply going to click on the plus sign from the floating menu. And if you scroll down, you'll see your spot for creating the next question. Once you have all your questions created, it's nice to change the theme or appearance. Click on the palette to change the theme. You'll notice several theme options. You can change the color of your quiz. You can click on a header for your quiz. and the headers are categorized. The ones that are in Work and School tend to work pretty well for quizzes. So find one that you like and select it. I'm going to go with this one. I think that's pretty cool. And then click on Insert. And then you'll see a preview of what your quiz is going to look like. Notice that the background color has changed along with the image to complement the image. You can preview your quiz at any time by clicking on the eye, which is the preview icon, and it's going to give you a peek of what your quiz will look like. Simply go back to the tab to the left to return to editing mode. There are some settings that you might enjoy looking at. If you click on the gear, you'll see those settings. If you're giving this to students in a real class, you'll probably want to collect their email addresses or require them to sign in. And then after that, you can decide whether or not you want your students to be able to edit their quiz after they've submitted it, or to see a summary chart and the text responses. That's entirely up to you. A lot of times these last options are used for polls. If you click on the Presentation tab, you'll see that you can add a progress bar. So if it's a lengthy quiz, you can give students an indication of where they are, how far along they are by using that. Shuffle question order is a really good one to select because it allows you to make each question, the answers to each question, different by ordering them differently, and it cuts down on cheating. I usually uncheck Show Link to submit another response because you typically don't want your students submitting more than once. And then finally, you can click on the Quizzes tab, and here you're going to have some choices about when students can see their grade. Immediately after each submission is what I'd like for you to check so that I can take your practice quiz and see that you have given feedback to students. And then what do you want them to be able to see? I usually have all of these things checked. See their missed questions, see the correct answers, and see the point value. And of course, if you've given feedback, they'll be able to see that as well. So close settings by clicking on the X, and then we're back to our quiz that's still in progress. Give your quiz a name. This is so that you'll be able to find it in Google Drive. And then, if you want to preview it again, you can. Then we're ready to click on the Send button and look at our options. With the Send button, we're kind of like publishing it, and we can decide if we want to send it using email by getting a shareable link. And here's the link that we can copy. We can shorten that URL so it's not so big, and then Control-C allows us to copy it. Or if we want to use an embed code. So if you want your quiz to actually appear as is on a web page or even in your Google Classroom, you can do that. Typically, a link is good enough. So now we go back to our Google Classroom and click on the Add button, and you can either add by plucking your quiz that you just created from Google Drive, or you can add the link that you just copied. And we're going to do that. Control-V and add the link. And now my figurative language pre-test is showing, and I can get rid of this blank quiz here. So if you already have a quiz created in Google Drive, if you went ahead and followed the instructions in the earlier version, you can click on Add. You can go to Google Drive. You can select My Drive, and then you can locate your quiz. So I've got a quiz right here, and I can double click on that quiz, and that quiz is going to show up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one of these because I don't need two of them. And the last thing I need to do then is, let me pull this over a little bit so you can see. You can see it's already saved, but before it's available for students, I need to assign it. Okay, so now my quiz is going to show up at the top, and what I want to do finally is put it with a topic. So I'm going to click on the three dots, click on Edit, and let me move this over a little bit. There's my points. I can change the points. Let's change them to 10. 100 points is a lot for a quiz, right? I can put a due date in, and then here I'm going to select the topic figurative language so that it shows under figurative language. And now finally I'm going to save it. I'm going to update the point value. Okay, and if we scroll down to my figurative language topic, we can see that the figurative language, actually both of them, quizzes are there. All right, that's all. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.